Raya,
Treva,
Champagne,
and Lynn.
and we are here to bring to you our book to movie adaptation of A Man Called Otto, aka
A Man Called Uwe.
Uwe.
The book is the Swedish version, or I guess was originally from Sweden, and that was written by Fredrik, I don't know how to pronounce it. Last name is Backman. And that came out in 2012. There was an adaptation in Sweden in 2016. And then now in 2023, there's an adaptation to the American version.
And by the way, we did a review on the Swedish version, so go check it out and listen
season
to
one?
I think it might have been season 1.
I think so.
Yeah.
But we did a review. We love that book, A Man Called Uwe, and we're so excited about the Swedish movie. And so now that the American movie has come out by a different name, which is another point.
I'm assuming like Otto is Uwe, but like the American version.
If you say so.
That's a good point, though.
Anyway, we were so excited for this to come out. So this is really our second review on this story.
Yes, but before we get into it, today's wine that we are drinking is the wrong way. Cooper's Hawk Super Tuscan. It is my favorite wine from Cooper's Hawk. It's one of those wines that if you don't really like a red wine and you more drink like white wine, it is a good transition over to like liking.
Is it dry?
No, it's like full bodied. It's not sweet, put it that way, but it's not dry to where your tongue is like coated. But it's one of my favorites that like if I am going to dinner with somebody that likes white wine, I'll tell them, try some of mine first. I promise you'll like it. And the past 5 times that I've recommended, it worked. So Super Tuscan from Cooper's Hawk. I keep turning the label the wrong way. Try it out.
Actually, I have to take that back, Champagne. I was just making faces, but I feel like Lynn kind of knows our taste now. Steer us wrong with wines that she thinks we'll like.
Yeah, I'm gonna flat out say you ain't gonna like it. Like, Lynn won't like it. Same way I gave you guys the same courtesy. So
Yeah.
That's true. I remember Treva does that to me too. Last time we went to the Montgomery County Watery, and the girl was trying to get me to drink the wine. She was like, Champagne, don't drink that. Don't drink that. You're not gonna like it. I was like, I'll try it.
I was like,
Champagne.
Okay. Champagne was like,
I dumped the whole thing out.
So yeah. Do you want to talk about the book? I mean,
Yes.
Let's talk a little bit about
Let's
the book.
talk about the book. All right. Well, first of all, I love the story. I know we talked about the story in the first review, and I think we pretty much all agreed how much we just love the story. We love the character and just his whole movement and transitions through the story. And it was such a cute little story about an old man.
I love the way the story is told in the book, and it's given from his perspective to where, like, you always wonder what like a grumpy old man is thinking anyway. So to get that, like his version of it, but being like, oh, she's so annoying. She keeps coming to my door. And what kind of rice is this? It's good though. Like, I love that, like, involvement, like the inclusiveness of that. So from the book, I love that version of it.
I love the fact that, you don't know what the old man is thinking, and you don't know what he's been through to be grumpy. So I like the fact that they go into detail on why he's grumpy and why is he this way, knowing that he's really nice before his wife passed.
Yeah, he had a biggest heart.
Yes.
Thanks.
Wow.
He had the biggest heart and such a tough life, like just even from his childhood and his dad and working at the railroad and all of that stuff. Like, he went through so much tragedy and that house burning down.
And he wanted nothing besides just...
Well, he also had a disability.
A man of honor.
Yeah.
He also had a little bit of a disability too. That's, I think, what I am like always.
You think he had a disability that went undiagnosed?
Oh yeah, he definitely had a little awkwardness to him.
Yeah, but awkwardness is not necessarily a disability.
I just didn't want to call it the disability, but he was, I think he was a little.
Okay. But the man had so much going on in his life and so much tragedy that
I loved him.
I'm like, no wonder he's mean, but he's really nice.
He really is.
A man of honor and a man of his word.
Yep.
Well, it took his wife a while. Well, I wouldn't say a while. She broke down those walls because she was not having it. So it needed somebody else that was going to put forth that effort to break down his walls again. And I think he only let certain people in, his wife, Sonia, and then, of course,
the neighbor.
But like, there's only certain types of people to get through those like barriers.
Right.
And
that's very true.
his wife and the neighbor. But I think that he realized that once he was like, all right, she's not going to leave me alone. She's not going to back down. Let's just get this over with, whatever task she has me doing. And then eventually, of course, falling in love with the family. But I think his personality was like, man, she don't leave me alone. And then realizing, oh, she ain't going nowhere.
Yeah.
He definitely attracts all of his opposites. Like
his wife, interestingly, because I reread the book when this movie was coming out because it was so long since I had read it. But
I did too.
What I didn't remember in the book was that he was exactly like his wife's father. So, like, he was sort of this grumpy man that didn't have few words and worked on cars. And so her father and him hit it off as much as the grumpy men could show that they were hitting it off. But I forgot that whole concept of the fact that he was actually just like her father. So
probably attracted her to him.
That's what I think what attracted her to him. And she knew exactly how to deal with him.
How to handle him. Yeah.
Knowing he's a man of honor, so that she wanted that in her future too. So yeah.
So it was so good. And his passion for something that he loved, like all the letters he wrote on his wife's behalf. And when he was like fussing at the guy who was honking the horn at the neighbor when he was teaching her how to drive, like all of that.
Oh, yeah.
He was passionate about the people he loved.
Yes.
So the movie.
Yeah.
The movie. Okay. I'm just going to say it, even though we're not rating it. I freaking love this movie. I think they did such a good job on it for the most part. There were some changes that I'll talk about that I'm not happy with, but I don't know if it was Tom Hanks or just because I love the story so much, but I really enjoyed watching the movie.
So I wanted to piggyback on what you're saying about Tom Hanks. And I think part of it, why I liked it so much was, I love the movie, by the way, was that it was Tom Hanks. But I think that Tom Hanks chose this like role because he knew that he needed to do his due diligence to make a good adaptation. He probably did his research, which he does with every other role he's done.
Yes.
And he read the book. He watched the Swedish version and he was like, okay, I need to make sure that I am paying homage to not just the book, but also the previous movie and the story. So I feel like because it was Tom Hanks, it was a good adaptation because he knows his SHIT and he puts that forth in everything that he does.
He's phenomenal.
I would make it like, G-rated or whatever. Hopefully the 2-year-olds know how to spell that. But yeah,
they do.
I agree. And so mine is vice versa. So I am obsessed with Tom Hanks. I've always been a Tom Hanks fan. But I think I like this movie because of the book or because of the movie itself, not because of Tom Hanks. It took me a minute to see Tom Hanks as Uwe.
Oh, okay. Otto.
Because of his,
Otto.
Only because, I don't know. I pictured a grumpier old man. To me, he it's hard for me to see him as this grumpy person. I've never seen him in this role. He did a great job, though, and I love Tom Hanks. But for me, it just took me a minute to see Otto.
Actually Google like Tom Hanks like after, and I was like, he doesn't look that old like recently. Why is he looking old now? Right. And I realized, of course, makeup, and he of course had a frown. But I was just like, I don't remember him looking this old, which he does normally, but he put himself in that character clearly.
He looks good.
But it is hard to picture him as a mean guy. So
knowing that he's not.
Yeah. But so I would agree with you there.
But see, I don't really ever see Uwe Otto as mean. I just don't want to deal with you. I'm just, I don't want to be bothered with silly stuff.
Is that because you can relate to that personality?
I don't think that you're being mean. You just, okay, what is it? Boom, keep it moving.
Right. Well, the whole like checking the sign and going crazy for every car that rode down, like all of that obsession with that stuff, clicking the door 3 times.
Yeah, it's a little OCD.
That stuff would drive me up a wall. So
yeah,
he was the only one worried about the cars coming through there for whatever reason.
The only one
doing his rounds every day.
But you know what?
I mean,
if he didn't do it, it could possibly have been a mess here. There's got to be an HOA somewhere, and he was their HOA.
But he got fired, apparently.
He did get fired.
Yeah, he got fired.
But he's still
still did it. He still made it brown.
But imagine what if he didn't do it after being fired. That whole neighborhood would have gone in the gutter.
Very true.
Yeah.
I mean, but come on, the UPS, like, why do you brown guys get the cut?
Oh, that, I died laughing. It was like, why do you brown?
I didn't mean that racially.
Oh,
Wait, what's he talking about? Right?
He screamed, I didn't mean that racially. The white guys don't do that. How about you? Why you brown guys keep doing this?
that was a funny scene.
Hey.
Yeah,
So,
that was too funny. So I will say, I thought it was cute, some of the changes that they made to make it more American. One was the cars. They changed to the focus being on American cars, but I was disappointed because they really didn't hone in on that beef with him and the neighbor on the car situation, right? So that was a big point of the book.
It was a big deal. Yeah.
One of the main reasons why they discontinued speaking. And whereas in this movie, I felt like it was more focused on an HOA disagreement and not necessarily
because they cut that whole part out.
Yeah, about the car. They didn't really focus a lot on the obsession with the cars, which they could have done with the American cars the same way they did in the book with the Saw. So that was a piece that I kind of wish that they would have kind of kept in there.
Me too.
So for that, I was torn because I fully agree, but because in the Doy world, we are Chevy people. We don't drive Fords. It's a Chevy household. And so I was like, okay, I feel you, Otto. I would probably talk to somebody if they bought a Ford. So it kind of reminded me of my dad, because my dad sometimes comes across as the grumpy old man, but has the biggest heart. He also was a Chevy guy. So I was kind of torn on whether I liked the change or not, because I was like, I don't know, I get the Saw, but I'm a Chevy girl. So I was a little
I just
partial
don't
to
think
that.
I just don't think they showed enough about the relationship at all, him and the neighbor.
Yeah.
It's just they breezed through it, and so you kind of were lost. I think if I hadn't already read the book and seen the first movies, that I wouldn't have caught on about how close their relationship was,
And how they're the same person before his demise.
They did show that one scene of them both beating up the girl's boyfriend, which I'm glad, because that was a snippet in the book, and I'm glad they brought in there. It was sort of the historical bond that they had. Remember the girl that got beat up by her boyfriend, and they both threatened him to leave? That was something that I don't remember them mentioning in the Swedish version of the book, but I just like the fact that they brought it in American. I don't remember whether it was in the Swedish, but for some reason I don't remember it being in there. So I like that piece. But did you guys notice in the movie that they focused a lot on his suicide attempts? That.
Well, yeah, I thought that was the premise, though. I thought that was the premise of the book.
But in the book, it wasn't so much of a focus.
I thought it was he had planned
every day.
Attempted twice, not actually the hanging from the ceiling and then the shotgun and that scene when it went off, my heart jumped because, anyways, point is, I don't remember it the same way as being so many attempts versus the plotting behind the planning.
Right. Exactly. But in the...
No, I thought when I read the book, I assumed he was trying, he was ready to do it, and then crazy cut him off.
Everything happened. Yeah.
To me, it was felt, I think in the end, when he left, left everything, sorry, spoiler if you haven't read them, that he left everything to her, she really saved his life. And if it wasn't for her, he wouldn't have had this second chapter of his life. So that's why I think I got it in the book, in the original book, and in the a movie. I just assumed every single time. I mean, I liked how they made it so dramatic. You never know. Now I'm getting deep. You never know how much of an impact you could have on somebody's life, whether it be a call, whether it be a knock on the door, just some random, it's always when somebody comes to your mind, you're like, oh my God, I got to call and check on this person, because you never know what impact you had. And for him, she literally saved his life every time she knocked on that door.
And she held him accountable. And that's what I really liked in the movie, was that when he ran to the house because he was having his heart episode, and how he wouldn't open the door for her, he wouldn't answer her calls, and the next day when he needed a phone because he kept disconnecting everything, but when he needed the phone, I'm sorry, she said, no, you hurt me, you scared me, and even if you were planning to do whatever you planned to do, you hurt me as a person that cares about you. And that right there was very moving to me, because it was oh yeah, look,
I love her role in the book.
I love her so much.
Yeah.
I was talking to my friend Michael about this about the casting, which we'll get into in a second. But I didn't like that she wasn't Persian in in the American version.
Mm-hmm.
But I kind of get it because of proximity, like Mexico is a bordering country. So I get it. But I was just like, I really wanted, I don't know, the Persian like power to come through.
What is she talking about? Mexican, the bordering country.
Well, the companies of the U.S. and Mexico.
What?
She was Persian in the book. Or maybe she was, she's Persian in the book, Persian in the Swedish movie. And then she was Mexican in this movie. And I get proximity wise, but like I don't know if Sweden has like a big I guess populace. Yeah.
Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah, I was just
It was just trying to make they made it seem more realistic by the groups of people.
And I get it, but I was just like I really wanted it to be like because like in America we have a lot of like Mexican restaurants, Tex-Mex food, and for an American to eat Tex-Mex or to eat Mexican food, it's kind of like it's a every Taco Tuesday. It's so easily done. But then like to go from a Swedish cuisine to like an Persian cuisine is very different and very big jump. So for him to have like Spanish rice versus like a Persian rice, be very, very different because it's not a culture that we see here as much. Well, I guess in the DMV, DC Mountain, we do, but like for him in a small town, he wouldn't see that. So that was one of the reasons why, because like when he like sat down and ate the dish, he was like, but like, no offense, I can drive down the street and get it because like it's Mexican.
He was a potatoes and hash person every day.
Yes.
So for him,
I do get that, but you can't tell me over 85 years you never had
you got the same
and
thing.
we are people who just opened their eyes to food outside their home.
Okay, baby. Hey, right. I'm overthinking it and also putting myself in the shoes. But for me, I really wanted it to be like a very big jump of cuisine and culture for him just like to have that epiphany. Because I just feel like, with Americans, like Mexican food is pretty prevalent. But how many times you've been to a Persian restaurant? Right. Is what I'm thinking in my head. So I was looking forward to her being Persian and not being Mexican. But this actress killed it. Killed the role. I have no.
We want to get to.
I just was getting on attention.
Was there anything else in the book that y'all just didn't like or that turned you off? We know Champagne has a list. Go ahead.
No, I mean, y'all pretty much touched on most of them. Like you said, the friendship for me, what I was going to say was the attempts on his life. I felt like it was the most important thing because they showed him attempting and every time he get cut off by the neighbor. So he was over it. But I thought that was the most important thing on the book or whatever, how you never know what someone's going through kind of thing. And even she said it, like, you can't do this by yourself. No one can. So yeah, I thought the attempts on him killing himself was really big in the book.
I thought it was in the book. I just felt like it was such a super focus in the movie when there was a whole lot of other little backstories that were going on. They did weave them, like the meeting on the train and when he fell in love with her, meeting with the father, the punching of the clown. But that
hilarious.
There was reading the book. I mean, I know they showed the attempts, but it just didn't seem like it was just such a huge focus in the book as compared to.
Well, maybe it was in like seeing somebody attempt versus like hearing it. Definitely sees it differently.
Yeah.
So maybe it is.
When I explain the book to someone, like if I'm reading a book and I explain what the book is about, that's the first thing I say. Oh my God, it's about this grumpy old man who tries to kill himself, but every single time the neighbor interrupts him or whatever, he ends up falling in love with the family.
Yeah.
So that was always, I guess, at the forefront of my mind when I think about this book.
Okay.
So I had one other point that I actually really enjoyed. I don't remember, I reread the book, but I don't remember it being as prevalent as the movie. This version of the movie was when Otto took the family over to see Sonia, her grave, I should say, and how the kids paid just as much respect to Sonia as the adults did. Like that was very moving for me.
And that was in the book.
It was, but I remember like it was the kids too. So but I like that they made that like happen. Not happen, but like they did its due diligence, put it that way.
It also showed how involved he was in their family to be able to tell the stories. And, even though those aren't his kids, they're going to carry on his stories forever.
Mm-hmm.
Abuelo, Otto.
Abuelo.
I heard. I was like, I know what that means. It's like,
Right.
It was, remember the iPad scene? The iPad scene in the book was always so funny to me. So I'm glad they included that in the movie also.
I liked how they portrayed him like going out to do his rounds, and then the neighbors following him, and then the younger guy. What was that guy's name? That was the one he was helping out when he was doing his rounds, and then you have the guy and he's stretching, he's acting like an idiot. You could picture all of that, and then just to actually see them walk in that. This cast was wonderful,
and also I can't even think of the kid's name, but like the kid that was originally his wife's student that he took in.
Mm-hmm.
I love that they made him trans.
Mm-hmm.
I think his pronouns are now he. I'm sorry if I'm incorrect. Don't come after me.
Yes, Malcolm. His name is Malcolm now.
No, okay. That's what I thought I remembered, but wine. So yeah, I love that they made him trans, and they were able to incorporate this movie as not just like multicultural, but also different genders, different identities, like just a whole mixing bowl of love is love.
Love is love.
Love is love. And so I really like that in this adaptation. So yeah, sorry.
Cast? Anything else? Right?
I'm in the cast.
Okay.
I freaking love Tom Hanks. I thought he was wonderful. I don't usually keep the last movie that somebody played in or whatever. I'm usually able to separate that. I just do get caught up in the movies, but I thought he was phenomenal. I loved this movie, and I loved what was her name? The lady, the neighbor, Marisol. I could see me. No, now what you gonna do? I was like, Marisol's about to get herself in trouble, but I freaking loved her. I loved her husband,
right. The linky one. Because he could say
it was just a dilly.
Oh, he called him the linky one in the book.
Yes.
He had no respect for him in the beginning, and then of course he came around. But that was so funny. He couldn't do anything.
Yeah,
he couldn't do anything.
What is he good for?
So it's so crazy when I reread the book, and remember that scene when they were in the car, and he was just like, "You have given birth. You came over to this country. You live like, don't tell me you."
Best part of the movie.
Yeah, but I was rereading the book and got teary-eyed when that part came. And then when I went to see the movie, I'm like, thank you for keeping that part in.
Yes.
It was so much fun.
I was so
she was like,
so freaking all emotional. I was like, I'm not an emotional person. It takes me forever to cry. I was sitting like, all right, so I mean, he's not wrong, but don't cry, Lynn. Yeah, it was the whole thing.
I cried the whole.
I love that part.
So did I.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
I'm sorry. Back to the cast. Every single person in the movie I thought was great.
I agree.
Yeah, I don't have any objections to it. I went into it with a certain mindset, but I was pleasantly surprised by everybody. Or not surprised, pleasantly pleased by everybody.
Yeah.
I think I would have liked this movie regardless because of the book. I don't know. And then Tom Hanks added to the cast. I think I would have liked it anyway. So I went in thinking, I'm giving this the best rating ever, no matter what.
I know.
Our book.
Cast can blow a movie.
They really can. I mean, honestly, just so you guys know, because this was a trivia pick, way back when. It was such a fabulous book. I agree with you, Champagne, that it was such a great pick and a great book.
Really?
That we just knew the movie was going to be good. But if it was not good, I was going to start a protest line.
100%.
So I think you have a decade of people that are all going to boycott, protest, write letters, show up. We're going to have all the Karens coming out for that.
Right.
And remember when we found out that they were redoing it in the American version and we found out it was going to be Tom Hanks? We were like, okay, when is this happening? And they pushed it back, I think, because of COVID or something. But we were super excited for this movie already.
It was supposed to be released in 2022. And then when it kind of passed that date, all of us were like, wait, when it's coming out? And then it's 2023, but still, I'm happy.
Yeah, it was good. So, all right, well, y'all ready to rate? Even though both Lynn and I have already taken our sips, so
it's not finished yet.
Since my glass is some in there, I'm gonna tell you guys that this is getting a full glass for me.
Me too, full glass.
Me three.
Me four.
That's a bottle.
It happens to be a great bottle that we chose today.
Yeah,
it's one of my favorites.
All right, well, thank you for tuning in. Check out our next episodes. If you have any recommendations of some books that you would like us to read and review, let us know.
What are we doing next? What are we having in the
we got lots of stuff going on this year.
Kindred.
What is it?
Kindred. I always say it wrong. Kindred.
Kindred.
Check it out. And then Bridgerton, another continuation of that series that's coming out too. So
you gotta
check us out.
The Jenny Han video.
And we got some new ones. Book by Judy Blume, Harold and the Purple Crayon. We have all these different types of genres and style for the whole family to listen to. So check us out.
Yeah, okay. Desert Reyes pick. So we're working.
Harold, we can tell by the title.
That's me.
Right. Anyway,
I bring out purple.
Bye.
Follow us on
Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, every platform possible.
All the above.
all of the above. Thank you.
Bye.
Stop.